Well, many thanks for joining us on Bloomberg Quint. Now, the electric vehicle has been the center theme for this year's Auto Expo 2020, and commercial vehicles, buses, fleet owners are at the epicenter for the EV push in the country. Now, talk about how JBM aims to take its EV journey in the country with the electric buses. They have already launched 2 electric buses at this Auto Expo, if I'm not wrong. Talk more about. Joining me is Nishant Arya. Nishant, many thanks for joining us and speaking to Bloomberg Quint. Give me a sense of how you're looking at this opportunity, the competition also heating up, how you aim to stay ahead of the curve.
See, competition is never heating up. You always learn from competition. And competition, in our case, we consider as co-opetition. Competition and cooperation, how that goes hand in hand. Today, the Japanese market, I'll just take an example, is doing so well because the competition within the Japanese market was so strong. And all the Japanese players had to do extremely well to go above the rest. So that's why across the globe now all Japanese players in the automotive space took leadership position. Similarly, in our case, we are getting that learning curve now and we are growing substantially in the market. And I see that EV is definitely going to be the future, not because we want it, but because it's focused on environment. It is focused on people, on society and country at large. That is the prime focus. And how we as a company who is part of this country can contribute to the society and such requirements, and how technology is driving value for each one of us. That is what we have tried to display here. And these are not just products. So JBM's Eco Life series, where we have displayed our E9 and 9-meter bus, E12, 12-meter bus, is part of the whole EV ecosystem which we have launched. So EV ecosystem approach is the well-to-wheel concept which JBM has launched, starting from generation to consumption. So solar energy or renewable energy along with the battery energy storage, charging infrastructure, power infrastructure, and the electric vehicles is what we are providing to our customers, so that we are giving an end-to-end solution and completely capturing all their requirements. So the STUs want to focus on their operating cycle. So we are not disrupting or changing their operating cycle. We are aligning our battery technology, our charging technology based on that. So we've used the latest lithium technologies in our batteries with fast charging capabilities, where the buses can be charged between 15 minutes to an hour and have a very fast turnaround time. We have a very highest seating capacity of 40 passengers and standing up to 60 passengers even if it's overloading, because it being a true low floor bus, it has a very high capacity. Simultaneously, we've gone for a monocoque structure. With the monocoque structure, the structure life goes to as long as 15 years, even though the customers want to use 10 to 12 years. And we also have to see that how we're focusing on lightweighting, how we're focusing on safety and comfort. And that is leading to affordability, which is an integral part of the JVM's journey. So in our vehicles, we have gone for disc brakes. We are using ITS and PI systems. You can see the whole vehicle is monitored by 5 to 6 different cameras. Each and every passenger can be identified and real-time data is being shared. We have also gone for digitization in today's day and age with IoT in our buses. So digital ticketing is possible because the dearth of manpower, trained people is there, and that should not become a roadblock for companies and different governments to bring in public transportation. We are focusing today on getting about 1 billion e-kilometers in the next 2 to 3 years from our buses, which will lead to about billion kg of CO2 reduction, more than 300 million liters of diesel reduction. And for that, we'll be using a half gigawatt or little more than that renewable energy. So that's the whole well-to-wheel perspective we have tried to bring in, which is customer-centric, consumer-centric. And no technology is going to stay at the same level, because JBM's focus is not only EV, it's zero emission. Zero emission, focused on health and environment. That is what we're trying to bring about.
Also, give me a sense of the kind of investment you're going to make and the kind of capacity you're going to build going ahead.
So we are investing about 500 crores in our EV vertical, where we're working on the vehicle technology, battery technology, charging technology, and also customizing our products in terms of giving them the right level of comfort and safety. Simultaneously, we are seeing that our current capacity which we are creating will get to about 2,000 buses on an annual basis, and the market is going to expand at a very fast pace. Currently in FAME 2, which the government has launched, we are having a portfolio opportunity of about 7,000 buses, and which will expand at a much faster pace. Personally, I feel that because today India as a country has about 1.7 million buses, and about 80,000 to 90,000 buses are added every year in the market, out of which 50% is intra-city, which is city buses. And JBM is focusing on those. I feel that in the next 5 to 6 years, majority of those city buses would be converting to electric, and JBM as a company would be gunning for a lion's share in that space.
Right. And that this 500 crore will be spent in, give me a sense of how many years are you looking to spend 500 years, or that's you already spent in the EV
500
journey?
crores is our focus in a couple of years. So in the coming 2 years and including the current year. So because that gives, we need to create a strong war chest and capability, because technology obsolescence would be a very important point in this case, and how we are able to adapt, create and engineer new technologies is very essential. So we have a 300 people R&D center which JVM has got today in India and abroad, with which we are creating a strong backbone, because eventually, as I said, technology will drive value. If that momentum is not maintained and we are not ahead of the curve, then we'll just be following the norms. We want to create such kind of benchmarks and norms for our customers, stakeholders, where different supplier partners, customers are also educating us.
Right. Also, would you be spending in setting up a plant as well in the country?
Yeah, we are expanding our capacity substantially. We have set up plants in near Delhi, in Faridabad and Kosi Kalan for such kind of capacities and for such kind of projects. And they have given us quite a good dividend, because customers are able to clearly understand the kind of technology we are having. We are testing our vehicles for about 1 million kilometers virtually and manually before putting them on the road. And that's why we have been able to use a very large local content. As you would see, that Make in India is a focus of the government, and we as an organization imbibe it and clearly see. That's why the government has given us this honor to use the Make in India line also on our buses. And we clearly see this, that this is going to take us a long way, and how we as an organization would have only two constants: learning and change.
Right. And how are you seeing the states reacting to the EV push as well? What kind of demands are you seeing there? What kind of tenders are there in the market for you to grab?
So in FAME to about 5,500 buses is what government is targeting in 65 cities. So we have been participating with different states, but definitely we need to take a long-term view, as these are 10 to 12-year contracts. So we are working with multiple states and participating in tenders. I think in the next couple of months, we'll have utmost clarity of the tenders which will be getting through. And states are quite progressive and forthcoming, and they are very receptive of this change which is coming about on electric mobility.
And last two quick questions. You spoke about your big force push towards electrification of vehicles. Going in 2-3 years, how much will the revenue generate for you going ahead? How much percentage of the revenue coming from the EVs and the ICE or other engines?
Definitely, majority of our vehicles sold in next 2 to 3 years, more than 50% of JBM's vehicles sold in next 2 to 3 years will be from electric vehicles. And definitely we'll be deploying the EV ecosystem. And the next couple of years, we will definitely try to see that how we are raising the bar further in terms of battery density, in terms of fast charging, in terms of the new materials we'll be using as alternate materials for making the vehicle lighter and enhancing the passenger comfort and safety.
And lastly, just want to get a sense of the challenges that are there in the story as far as the infrastructure is concerned. How are you able to tackle that? You said you're going to spend on infrastructure as well, but there are any other challenges that could also slow down sort of your growth?
See, challenges are a must, because if we have to enhance our game and our organization's bandwidth, so in that case, these challenges are opportunities for us. So when we talk about skilled manpower being available, funds being available by different customers and operators, the understanding of the EV infrastructure, deploying the EV infrastructure, the right supply base in the country for such kind of vehicles, and the road conditions which is there. But definitely I would say our government is very focused. They are taking a comprehensive view in this case and really pushing it wholeheartedly. And that's why we as an organization are gunning for electric vehicles, the EV ecosystem, and the complete march towards zero emission vehicles.
Right. Is there anything else government can do at this point of time to make things more easier for the company?
Definitely, I think there's a lot of investment being made into R&D, research and technology. How they can boost the focus on such investments, support companies like us who are focusing on Make in India, Make for India, and get those benefits in R&D, how they are supporting the companies like we saw in China and other countries, they are supporting the local companies. So I do not talk about JBM as a company, but India as a country, and focus on Indian companies is what we would look forward to.
All right, Nishant, thanks for your time and speaking to Bloomberg. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.